more thread, it's okay. But it's more comfortable to you to use in your days. Yeah. But we are using the polyglactin in general use in my days. Yeah, I prefer. It's more comfortable for me. So they teach the introduction of the needle into the cavity. It's so very important. Yeah. And why it's so important? Because if you didn't have the same size of the needle and the trocar, you have a problem. Yeah, you are make a mistake. So when you have a reducer, you use needles. Use the needles with the right diameter compared to the trocar size. Why this? Because the maneuver to use to introducing the needle into the cavity, you first of all you pick up remove the trocar of the patient. Yeah, you introducing the needle roller into the trocar. Yeah, in the sequence you grasping the thread and you introducing the needle and the thread into the trocar. Yeah, look here. Here you have the needle. When you put into the trocar, you have here on the thread. Yeah, and you go and try to again into the patient, and you put the needle roller into the cavity, and the needle it's appear for you with the thread, and you starting the suture. Yeah, it's one possibility to introducing the needle into the cavity. Yeah, but what is the technical errors? The needles of improper size may get stuck on the trocar valve. Yeah, and a force exerted on the thread can cause it to rupture and consequently to drop the needle into the cavity. It's the big mistake. Yeah, when you have this mistake, oh my God, it's terrible for you. Yeah, but where is the needle? First of all, you look on the trocar valve. Yeah, you open the trocar and look on the trocar valve. But if the needle don't stay there, it's in the cavity. So it's a big mistake. And you go to you call to the how to say the radioscopy. The radiology, and come to the radioscopy to look into the cavity with the radiology to the needle. Yeah. And then effect stitch theory is the most important. Yeah. So this stitch is you divide in angles and suturing axis, and dividing in the another and the last the maneuvers to load the needle into the needle roller is the most important. So I'll talk about the angles and the suturing axis first. Okay, these things are important to make an easy and comfortable and quick suturing. Yeah? With Professor Luis said for you, you have the angles and the axis of the needle and the entries in the cavity to make a suturing. Yeah? You can choose the lateral. Yeah, it's you can see more in the general surgery. Yeah, you stay in this position every time, lateral. But for your shoulder, it's very terrible. In a few minutes, your shoulders have a pain. Oh my God, it's very uncomfortable to make the surgery. Yeah, and you can change to these angles. You put one trocar or more, your entry and suprapubic, yeah, and you stay in this position or in this position. It's more comfortable to you, it's more ergonomic to you, and for your auxiliary too, yeah, because you stay in a more comfortable position to make the suturing, to make the maneuvers, to get the line of the suturing. So the angles in the suturing axis you can divide in four. The main is the P axis, yes, is here. You can look here, the P is the main rotation axis of the needle rotor. The P represents the needle rotor. Yeah? In the simplest, when you put the P, here's the wand, the P incident angle of the needle rotor, you under the wand axis, you create the A. Yeah? And the virtual medium axis of the wand, that wand too close. When you look here, the needle plane, it's a perpendicular to F axis, and here you can see the entry of the needle and where you go out. Yeah. So you create with the P a P line, and when the P line is parallel of the F axis, you take a good and perfect stitch. It's the perfect stitch. So, and the perfect stitch is a particular combination of angles, X, and planes. So when you have the P parallel to the Fx, you stay in the perfect situation to make the perfect stitch. Yeah, you understand? Yeah.
Just to give an example for you all, if we're thinking in open surgery, it's easier because we have a needle holder. It's not like this, and you can place your hand wherever you want. So normally, if you have a wound like this, you're gonna start with your needle holder like this and place your stitch. The difficulty, and what is Alexandre is talking about, that is that in laparoscopy you're almost always depending of the direction of the wound. You comes from above. So you have to correct this, because if you come from above, if your needle is placed just under 90 degrees in your needle holder, you're always doing suturing from kind of backwards. So you have to understand this theory. If you're coming from this side and the wound is in this direction, it won't work. You have to correct the needle to place a nice suturing. So you have to plan also the way you make your incision. You have to correct this problem. Imagine that we are all inside the abdominal cavity. Our trocars are coming from the roof. We have to think in this geometric problem to decide where to place our trocars from the beginning of the surgery. If we're doing like a myomectomy, we have to think where to place the trocars, so we'll make this difficult problem easy. So this theory is really, really important. This concept is really, really important because it will help us to plan ahead our incisions, will help us to plan ahead where we're going to place our trocars. Normally, we use 2 lateral trocars and 1 suprapubic trocar to be really ergonomic, so you don't tire yourself if you're performing a long surgery. And also, when it's possible to define your correct incision, to overcome this geometric problem that laparoscopy places to us, but with some tricks we can go further.
Yeah.
Just to clarify a little bit.
And so the perfect stitch is a particular combination that I said of angles, axes, and plane, but it's like a geometric problem and needs this strategy that Professor Luis said to you now. Why this strategy? Because you need to solve the problem. What is your problem? The wound. Yes, you need to suture the wound. Yeah. So the perfect stitch is easy stitch. When I said to you, the P axis is parallel to the F axis. So look here, that the professor said to you now. When you stay in this situation of the left hand trocar, the perfect stitch is here. When you make the suture in this line, is perfect stitch in your, you make the easy stitches. Or when you use the right hand trocar, you stay in this line. It's more comfortable to you. Or you use in the suprafluid trocar in this line to make a suturing after the myomectomy, posterior myomectomy, for example. Yeah. And in this video, Professor Armando demonstrated the perfect stitch. Yeah. And you can see here, look here. You can see the wall is here, yeah. The needle ruler, it's the PX, remember? The on is the FX, and look, the E is parallel of the wall, the FX. So you make a perfect stitch. Look for the needle. The needle have 19 degrees, yes? And you will look when the professor look, verification crossing, and now we entry to the tissue, make a small rotation of the hand, pick up again the needle, make a little traction of the thread, and look why it's the perfect stitch. You won't need to make many maneuvers to reload the needle into the cavity with the needle roller. Only you pick up again the needle with the needle roller, you will stay on the perfect way to make the suture. Look it. Again, it's a perfect stitch. Reload the needle, rotate the needle roller, and it's the perfect way to make a new suture.
So do you see that he's performing with his left hand? And I can guarantee you that his dominated hand is the right hand. So
yes,
that's what we want you all by tomorrow to be capable of. Do you think in this conditioning, look, both hands, the right hand and left hand, in this orientation of the wound, imaginal wound, he could perform the suturing with his right hand. Look at the position. Can you imagine a way that he would organize the needle in his needle holder to perform with his right hand, since his right hand dominated? So it's impossible. You have to master yourselves how to do with both hands, and it's completely feasible to do a suturing like this.
And now the maneuvers to load the needle in the needle roller. Yeah. So the needle, I talked to you the shape and the size of the needle. Now I talk of the needle especially. Look at the three principal points of the needle. The first point is the PB point or flag point. Yeah. This point you can use to make maneuvers to make a quickly suturing. I will demonstrate for you. The second one is the PX point. The PX point you can use it to hair pulling maneuver or pulling the thread of the needle. And bow and arrow, it's a little maneuver you can make to reload and load the needle into the needle roller to make a perfect stitch. And the last one is the BM or midpoint. You can make a maneuver with coffee breathing, yeah, to quickly suture. I will demonstrate for you. And the orientation of the needle. The needle should be handled like a puppet. Look for the video. Yeah, you can pick up one diameter or 1/2 diameter of the thread with the same size with the needle, and you can puppet the needle one more time. Yeah, and you put the needle in your position that you have to make to load the needle into the needle roller to make the suturing. Here it's in a position you can look for the direct position with the right hand. Yeah, you can put first here in this situation, or you can put in the left hand, the left sides. Yeah, the left side. Yeah, for the needle is in a good position for you load the needle, pick up with the needle loader to make the maneuvers to load the needle in the needle loader. And the position and wake up of the needle. The name of this maneuver is hair pulling. Why? When you pick up the needle loader, the needle is down. Yeah, you can look and you make the exercise, and you pick up the thread and make a little pulling, and the needle is wake up, stay up in the needle roller. Look here, you have it's not wake up. When you make the maneuver of hair pulling, the needle stay in a good position, and now you make a needle, or you can go into the suturing. And pull the threads towards to the needle roller, yeah, in the same direction. You up the angle of the needle. Why it's important? Because the perfect angle of the needle and the needle roller, here the angle, it's 110 degrees. That's the perfect. Why? You can see in the exercise. Yeah. And the last one maneuver is the bow and arrow. Then look out of the video. Here, move. You pulling the thread, and now you make the bow and arrow. You can the same of the bow and arrow. Yeah. And now you make this maneuver to put the needle in the perfect situation into the needle roller to make the suture. Look for the right here. You have a right, yeah? This right is the perfect situation of the needle in the needle roller. When you look this right, yeah, you stop the maneuver and go to the suture. Yeah. And the last one is the cross verification. When you stay with the needle in the perfect position in the needle rotor, you go to up on the wall and put your needle, and you look at the cross verification. Here is the F-axis, here is the T-axis. You remember? I showed it to you, yeah? So here the T-axis is the when your needle entry and your needle go out. So when you put in the wound, you create a cross verification. So it's the cross verification is the last one maneuver that you make, and the sequence you make the suture.
Just no, on the cross.
Here.
This is really important because doing this cross verification maneuver, you will understand where the needle will come in and where to find out where it will come out. This will overcome 2D delimitation that we have. We will show you probably tomorrow how our vision can kind of make some trick problems to us. So if we follow this rule, we know where we are placing our stitch. And it's the last maneuver, but also let you know how you have to do a fine adjustment of your needle. Imagine if you want, if you want to come from this hole and leave out in this hole. You do this final cross verification maneuver, but see that your needle is coming in this direction. So you have to close it a little bit to make it really a cross sign. So if you place this, that you did your fine tuning, you did all these maneuvers that Alexandre told you, the arrow and bow to close or to open a little bit, and you did your final cross verification test, and it's a little closer than you thought. You know by this figure that you have to make another movement to open it a little bit, or even to close it a little bit. This picture is really important to know where the needle comes in and goes in and where the needle comes out, because I'm sure everybody had passed this problem. Pass the needles like where it's coming out, and you try to find it. So if you did this before, it's like magic. You will find it easily. Okay? So don't forget this figure. Okay?
The needle is very hard. Yeah, it's very hard. You look in the exercise. It's very hard. Yes. So, and to change the orientation of the needle on the needle rotor, you make 3 maneuvers. Yes. The flag maneuver, the breathing cough maneuver, and the autovolant maneuver. Yes, it's the same with the roller coaster. And the first one is the flag maneuver. Yeah, you pick up the needle with the other hand that will make the suture. Okay, look here, the needle is going with the right hand. Yeah, you go in here, and come out here. Yeah, and you cap the needle with the left hand. So you make the suture with the right hand, and you pick up when the needles come out of the tissue. You pick up with the left hand, and you make the maneuver. Look, I will repeat for you for the information. You remember the points, the reference points of the needle that I said? So here is the first one, is the PB or flag point. Yeah? Why this point is to exist? To make this maneuver, to flag maneuver. Yeah? You pick up the needle with the needle roller in this point, and you pulling the thread in the orientation for the needle in the needle roller, and you create a flag maneuver. And why you make this maneuver? To change the orientation of the needle to make a direct suturing or a reverse suturing. What is this? Reverse we use in particular situations when you need to change the direction of the needle. For example, when you stay in the suprapubic and you make a suturing after the myomectomy, yeah, posterior myomectomy. When can you use the direct or the reverse orientation of the needle to make the suture? Yeah, and the flag maneuver you can use to go and look off the reverse suturing. You make a little rotation